everybody. We are here at our house, rental house, and we heard somebody talking over the fence, and we found out there's a guy selling tuna. He's got a couple of tunas here. One is, they're both around 5 kilos. One's 4 3/4, and the other one is what? How much?
It's 5 and
5 and 4
grams.
5 and 4 grams. So this is, they're selling it right here on the street, and this is the tuna here. What's the name of that?
Tulingan.
Huh?
Tulingan.
Tulingan.
Okay.
What's that, honey?
They have 100 kilos in their house.
100 kilos?
Yeah.
You gonna eat 100 kilos?
They're gonna go to Bantayan to sell it.
Oh, okay.
Bantayan to 50 kilo.
Well, yeah, Bantayan sometimes more. Sometimes I can get a real good deal there, and sometimes here it's just, you don't know. Just depends on the day and the person and how bad they want to sell it. Okay. Okay, so we'll take both of these.
Answer. 10
Do,
kilos.
Huh?
10 kilos and
Yeah.
1 gram.
Yeah. Yeah, well, 1 gram doesn't matter, right? It's just 10. So that's 1,900. Okay, honey, we can just grab the tail. Honey, you can just grab the tail.
Yeah, but it's dripping.
Well, it's dripping in the, huh? Well, that's okay, honey, we can wipe it off. So, anyway, we're gonna get,
I will just...
huh? Yeah, honey, you have to get the big plastic, get the rice bag out of the back of the motorcycle. And then we're good to go. It doesn't leak or nothing like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're gonna take it delivered fresh to your door. Here you go. Got it. Okay, honey.
Don't go there. Go to the back door.
No, I'm going through here, honey. This doesn't leak. Okay. We'll put this in. Is the sink clean, honey? Is the sink pretty clean? Huh? Okay. Anyway, so there we go. We got our tuna in our sink, and we gotta go pay them 1,900.
Ngayon ko gagma din na siyang patlag ko.
Yeah, and you can loan us 300. You can loan us 300.
Loan?
Yeah, 300 pesos. Oh, she's laughing now. She knows
May
it's a
dis
joke.
na yung urot kay. Ang pito, siya may bukang walo.
The boss, you're the boss.
I'm the boss.
So that's the story of fresh fish at your door here in Madridejos Bantayan Island. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care. There they go. How about that? Fresh fish straight to your door on Bantayan Island. Bye for now. Well, my wife's cleaning this countertop, getting it all chlorinated. We mix chlorine with dish soap, and so we sanitize really good. I don't know, did you clean that backsplash?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, she does a really good job. Then we clean out the sink, especially the drain part. We'll squirt some chlorine down in it and keep bacteria from coming up in the drain. Tiny squirt down in that drain, directly down in the drain. Yeah, there you go. That cleans out that P-trap and stuff, so bacteria don't come up. And our fish stays really fresh. I mean, we keep it frozen in the fridge. We put it in water now. We didn't used to, and it stayed okay. It was good, but now that we're freezing it in bags of water, it's really staying fresh. All right, everybody. I know you can't see me because I got my gimbal on and the phone's aimed here where the fish will be. But we're gonna, first thing I'm gonna do is, let's see. I've got 2 knives here, and you've probably seen these before in other videos where I fillet fish. But this is a knife that's not so sharp, and it's very flexible blade, very flexible blade, but it's not super sharp. It's not razor sharp, and I use this one to remove the skin, because otherwise, especially on a thin skinned fish, a sharp knife will slice right through it. It's really hard to kind of work it so that you don't cut through the skin. Now this is my sharp knife, and it's a little stiffer knife. It's an American Angler. Right there, American Angler. You can see that. And the beauty of this knife, see this part here? This is a serrated section here. This is for cutting bones. And on tuna, they got some big bones, so this will come into play on this tuna that we're about to clean. And then the rest of it is just standard fillet knife. I'm guessing both of these are at least a 9-inch-ish blade. And I'm going to sharpen them both. Make sure you don't cut yourself while you're sharpening your knife. So now we got these tuna bagged here, and I'm going to pull this big boy out. And my wife is going to get some ice and put in here. We've got some bags of ice that we need to keep this guy chilled so he stays fresh. So we got some ice from our ice maker. And again, this is Tuna, is that what they said it was? Tuna, but we've heard them called barili. And what barili means in, I think, Spanish is barrel. And as you can see, tunas are kind of shaped like a barrel. They're round and, you know, fat also like a football, as we call them, but they're also barrel shaped. So that's one of the names that they call them here. And it's got stripes on it, kind of like a skipjack does. So this may be like a closer kin to like a skipjack, like a big skipjack. Or maybe a bonita, I don't know. They have, I think, similar markings like this. This is almost like a mackerel marking too. If you see the little wavy lines on the mackerels, they all have these little wavy lines on top. So anyway, that's what I know about the fish, what it is. And again, usually we don't get the head, but we're not at the market and we can't bargain in that, and they brought it right to our door, so we're not going to be very picky. Also, this part of the fish here is a very heavy shield, like armor right here. It slowly thins as it goes back. Back here you got skin. In fact, you can see where these markings change from a gray over to this kind of a camouflage pattern. That's where the armor kind of ends, and you've got armor underneath here. You can push and kind of feel where the meat and the armor is. So meat goes all the way up to here in the head and spreads back. You got a big armor plate here around this fin. You have pretty tough skin, and again, you can see that line there. There's like a definite line here where kind of that armor is. And so you just got to work your way around that. And again, this little serrated knife can come in handy for stuff like that, where you really got to cut through some of the tough part in order to get the fish properly filleted and not lose a lot of meat. So you can see I come right up under the gills, and I'm using that serrated part of the knife to just cut right through that really tough stuff right here under the dorsal fin. Okay, so I've kind of made this head cut here. Some people will just slice them across here, but you lose a lot of belly meat. And on the tuna, the belly meat is supposedly the prized stuff for the sashimi and that. And it's got more fat content, basically. This is not, maybe this is sashimi grade, but I don't know. So next thing we do, we come in on the back, and I know you're going to have a hard time seeing this because I can't move the camera around and around and around, but basically coming in on the dorsal fin here, where it is, just right above there, wherever you can get into the meat, because you'll feel there's bone here, and you got to work it. I'm going to kind of hit the serrated part there. There's a lot of bone here, a lot of armor. I'm going to start down here. Maybe it's a little softer. See what we can do here. The skin is like leather. I mean, it is really tough. Here we go. Okay. Honey, you pick that up and Well, here, let me kind of turn this sideways. So what I did, I came in down here. Like I said, there's a lot of armor up here, heavy, thick, like almost like a gill. You know, almost like a really heavy gill. So I wound up coming in down here lower, and now I'm going to kind of work my way up, and I don't have to slice right through all of the meat. And keep your blade working it so it's on the bone, on the I guess, well, ribs are here, but these vertical and bones that go top and bottom to the system, you really want to follow those all the way into the spine as you cut. So I'm going to turn this back around. You really won't be able to see me, but I don't want to get blood all over the place. And tunas are just bloody fish. The bloody fish. If I was English, I could actually say that right, but I'm not. So, and again, I'm using the serrated part of the knife to cut through that dorsal fin bone, and we're just trimming right down along those vertical bones all the way to the spine, and you'll hear the knife blade just go as you slide down the spine, and you can roll that back some and just trim over the spine with your knife. And I'm going to try to join these two cuts here, this head cut and the top of the fish cut. Okay, so we're good here. We're good here. I'm going to cut through here. Yeah, we cut through there, and I'm going to have to come in on the gut, make a cut here, and I may come in further back down here by this, they call it the anal fin. That's kind of gross, but that's what it is. And work my way in again, being sure to follow those vertical bones. And if you're lucky, not all fish do this, but this dorsal fin and the vertical fins will sometimes mesh like this. So as you slide your knife, it's a smooth transition across. Other times they're apart. So as you slide your knife down from the dorsal fin bones, it'll go under, it'll slip and go under the back spine bones. And so we'll see what this one, it feels like they're meshed like that. So it's a nice smooth transition on the fillet. And again, we're going to try to come in here and follow that anal fin bone. And again, tuna are bloody fish, just a lot of blood. And they also have a pretty big blood vein, and I'll show you that too. That's kind of their blood distribution system goes horizontal along the side of the fish. Also, their spine bones are really lumpy. So as you're working down the spine, you're going to go up and down a lot. Some fish, you just barely go up and down, up and down. Some fish, you can almost slide it smoothly. But these have got, the bigger the fish, the bigger the vertebrae are, and the bigger the higher and lower the mountain peaks and valleys are between each one. So basically, I'm lifting this up and working my way down the spine. Usually I'll do that after I make this belly cut and kind of get these guts and stuff out of here. So we're gonna kind of cut through here, and I may fast forward some of this stuff because it takes a while to actually fillet a fish all the way out. And there we go. I'm just trying to kind of work my way. I don't want to cut through the intestines and stuff and get anything smelly from the digestive tract into the meat. It will happen, but I mean sometimes, but you just rinse them off good, and then that kind of gets rid of that smelly portion that you had hoped you didn't get. Okay, so we're pretty well released from everything. So I'm going to come back here and continue to work this spine. And we run into what we're running into here. Let me get the guts out. I'm going to pull all these guts out here. Come up here. I'm going to cut it at the throat. Up here, got to disconnect the internal organs from the throat. I'm going to cut it a little bit more. Honey, what'd you say?
Put the guts in that plate.
No, I'm putting them in here, honey. It's got liver. You can see it. Still haven't got quite the on the human, the esophagus, or on anything, the esophagus, I guess. There we go. Okay, so now here comes the internals. Cut through on this anal fin here. Cut that part out so we don't get any negative smells in our fish, and perfect job. I don't always do that well. Honey, don't stick your hand in here. I'll stick you maybe. Okay, so now we're down to the part of the tuna where the ribs and the pin bones that go. There's some fish have bones that go vertically right before the ribs that go out, and on the top it's just the bones that go straight up. So we're gonna have to cut through all of that right now, and that's again where the serrated blade comes in. It's just like a buzzsaw going through all of these bones. And there we go. Put that in there. Like I said, tunas are bloody fish. So here we go. We got the whole fillet done here. It's nice, and we have to quarter this. And because it's hard to get the skin off because the side of the fish is round while your blade is flat. So you have to be able to get the meat and skin to lay flat to remove the skin. So in order to do that, you have to quarter these, which basically you just cut along. And these are all bones here. These are all pin bones going all down here. Pin bones. They're just little bones that stick out from the spine. A lot of fish, the pin bones will stop where the abdomen stops, and then going from the tail down, there's none. But on tuna, and I haven't cleaned a tuna in a long time, so a lot of this I'm rediscovering. And like I said, this skin is tough, so it's like cut, they're shaped like a football, but that skin is tough as football leather up towards the head. Very tough skin. And that's where you need a really sharp knife or a serrated knife. And I'm just gonna have to kind of use the sharp knife here. Well, nope, the serrated part. There we go. See, that handled it just fine. The serrated part handled it just fine. Okay, so now we got basically a big old chunk of tuna. Really nice fillet. I'm going to now take my knife that's not as sharp, still sharp, it's still very sharp, and I'm going to start to take the skin off. Now the good news is the tuna skin, like I was showing you before, is very tough. And I got to get this over close to the edge of the blade so that my blade can kind of lay down. If you're over here, your hand and stuff gets this part of the blade up, and then you'll lose a bunch of meat because you're not flat against the skin. So I'm going to dump out some of this blood because, like I said, this looks like one of those vampire movies, doesn't it? Look at that. Vampires are freshly, whatever. We just watched Evolution. What was it? Underworld?
Yeah.
Yeah. Movie the other day. It's just a mess. My wife's going to have to give me a third and a fourth hand here for us to. See, I just went through the skin there and lost a piece of meat. I'm going to try to restart this. No, didn't do it. Okay, well, I'll have to try to get back into the skin. But like I said, tunas are kind of roundish, and so that makes peeling this skin off, sometimes a little tricky. And then also you run into that shielding part of the skin, which is very difficult to get off. And I'm just going to flip this guy. This is really dark meat. And I think it's partially because, you know, they don't bleed these. When they catch them, they just throw them into wherever they're going to throw them. Okay, so once we rinse it off, and that you'll see a little bit pinkish, more pinkish meat, but nonetheless, these fish have not been bled on board the boat like us, you know, because sport fishermen would bleed their fish. A lot of times you'll stick them right here, right by the dorsal fin, which is right where their bloodline is, going all the way down, and then just hang them upside down slightly and let them bleed out. But this is where the sharp knife comes in. If you did miss on getting the skin off cleanly, sharp knife comes in handy because you can just work it, cut this, slice just a razor thin piece off there. Alrighty, so I'm going to rinse this off because it's getting kind of hard to see where the, see it's turning pink now. You can see that. And we'll be able to better define where the bloodline is, where the bloodline is, and we want to get that out. That's got a really nasty, fishy taste. Okay. See right here? I don't know if you can see the difference in tone. Right here is more red. Right here is dark, just really dark meat. You want to get that off. That's bloodline, and that's where the fish's circulatory system basically is, and it will taste as really nasty fishy. I also believe that it's where, you know, they say tuna has mercury and stuff like that. I mean, all fish in the ocean have mercury. They also have a chemical called selenium. It's called selenium, and that actually makes mercury kind of ineffective in your system. So all the scare stuff they do, the fish actually have ingredients to counter the mercury that they contain. So they try to always get you to not eat the healthy stuff and eat all the crap. So it's part of the scare tactics for humans on Earth. Okay, so we got it. This is 1/4 of a 5 kilo tuna here, and we're going to slice it up. And my wife's going to check it for bones and stuff, just in case I missed any pin bones. So, and we just slice it up into baggy size. So she'll get the bag, and then we'll kind of see how wide the bag is, because we just kind of lay it in there like logs. And then once I get that, then I can slice the rest of these and lay them in like logs inside the bag. So looks like a little dark spot there. I'm going to get that off there, because again, any of that really dark, and I don't know what color you'd call it, but
Maroon.
yeah, like a dark maroon color meat, just toss it. I don't know if your dogs like it or not, or your cats like it, or whatever. You can use it for chum if you wanted to, freeze it or grind it up and make a little chum bag or chum bucket to throw over the side when you go fishing next time, and attract fish. So there are some uses for it, just don't eat it. All right, well that went smoother than I thought, so I'm really pleased how smooth that was. Now here's a little trickier part here, because this has got belly and ribs and all the pin bones. So I could make another excuse too, because I'm not wearing my glasses, so that's another excuse I could use. Alrighty, so now we got that part off. I'm going to take off this bloodline here, and once I do this side, this will be all that you need to see, because the other side is basically exactly the same thing, just kind of repeat steps, the same steps you went through to get the first quarter or half, first half done. And I don't actually eat a lot of tuna here, and it's not always available. They do have a lot of smaller skipjack and smaller versions, like a mackerel-ish kind of a tuna here that you can buy at the market. And like I said, the Japanese prize, the belly meat for sashimi, because it's got the highest fat content, and that's what they actually look for, the highest fat content. For tuna, and that's how they gauge it at the fish markets where they bring them in. They have a little tube that they inject, that they actually kind of take a plug sample out of the tuna, and then they got expert guys there that remove the meat from that plug that they took and rub it between their fingers, and they can determine the amount of oil in the meat like that. And then that's when they bid on the fish, if that's the fish that they want or not. If it's got enough fat content, then they'll start bidding, auctioning into that. They also have a nice auction. When I was in Hawaii, they have in Honolulu, they have a fish auction there, and you just register. And when you go out and catch fish, any sport fisherman or commercial fisherman, anybody that registers there can sell their tuna or dorado or whatever you want through this auction. And you just bring in your fish on ice, of course. They're really strict about keeping everything fresh. And so, and then they've got your address and everything, and they mail you a check. You just drop it off and weigh it, of course. They ice it again. They have big vats and stuff that they throw that in. They ice it again, and then auction it off for you. So it's really kind of a nice process. I was going to do commercial fishing there, but I realized how hard those guys work. They're up early in the morning, like 4 a.m., go down, prep their boat, prep all their fishing equipment, then load their boat, because their boats are usually trailered there because they don't have enough boat docks for everybody. So they trailer their boat, and they have to launch it and then head out and get out to the fishing spot before sunrise. And that's a good piece, honey. And I was going to do that, but then I said, dang, and then they don't come in until sundown. And then they have to get all their fish out of their boat. And they usually have a truck, and they'll come with their truck bed. One of their family members, their wife or son or daughter or whatever, will come there with their truck bed full of ice, and then they'll throw all the fish in there and take it over to the auction. Well, while they're doing that, somebody has to clean up the boat and get it all, because it's they wash it all down. In the U.S., they have Hawaii and that they have hoses and stuff right at the docks and stuff where you can hose all the salt water off of your boat, flush your engines, all the salt out of your engine cooling systems and that kind of stuff. So it's real convenient. So we have just filleted half of a tuna. So that's basically, you just repeat that process over and over again until you ain't got no more tuna, and then you're good to go. So we've got in here, my wife's been rinsing it and keeping it on ice, see all the little ice cubes and stuff. This is ice cold water. And then let's see her bag it. Watch her bag it. She'll bag it right in front of your eyes. You see the bag there? And she also writes the date. She also writes that it's a tuna. There's no T on there. She'll also write, the word tuna on here, so we know what this is. I would put a T, but T is tuna, T is tanigi, so, you could be, who knows what. So she's gonna have to write tuna on there, and then she fills this up, and then she puts water in it, and you can't write on it when the bag's wet, so I don't know if it's dry. Try it. Tuna, because T also is for Tanigi. Yeah, so here we go. So here's our bags. They're identified, tuna, and the date, September 27th, year 1920, so that we know which bag of fish to get out of the freezer next, because you know, whatever the it's kind of like a first in first out system that we use. Now Filipinos are going to love this tuna head and this backbone for soup that they make. They will they go crazy. So if we have our neighbors or whatever, we'll actually give this to them, and they're just like happy as a lark that they got, because normally they have to pay for that 200 plus per kilo, and I was fortunate, I got this for 190 delivered to my door. And so anyway, we got it cleaned. I'm going to do this, she's bagging that, and once we got a whole bag, that's about 2.5 pounds, or 2 pounds, I guess. It's how many pounds is it? Oh, we only got half of a tuna. This is 5 kilos, so that's a 2 kilo, 4 pounds of meat there in that bag. She doesn't overfill it, and then she'll put bottled water in there so that it's all the way up, and she'll show you how that's filled. You see right there? You see it's filled with water, so there's no air in the bag, and she's got really good hands, so she can do this like an expert. So all of our fish gets tied, and it's almost like vacuum sealed, but you're vacuum sealing it in water, which is even better, because that won't freeze or burn. You can leave that in your freezer for maybe a year and pull it out, and you wouldn't know that it wasn't thrown in there last week. It's so good. So anyway, so that's basically one meal, and we tried to bag it 1 meal size, and you can see the water in here, and that, and then she dries it off and puts it in the freezer. She dries it off so that ice won't form and stick to the next bag, and then we're ripping bags apart whenever we try to get them out of the freezer. So that's one more tip. Be sure to dry off your bags, because when you're stacking your bags, if they're wet, that's like that'll form like ice glue, and then when you try to get this bag out, it rips open this bag, or rips open this bag, or rips open both bags, or it just gets to be a mess. So dry your bags thoroughly, put them in the freezer dry. The outside of the bag needs to be dry. Okay, so we did that. We filleted it, and I'm going to work on the second part, and I got to get down here so everybody can see me, and we'll be back with more from my paradise on Bantayan Island. We're filleting tuna to your door. Bye for now. Hey everybody, you saw the tuna that we cleaned this morning. I wasn't really planning on doing a clean and cook or pick up, but anyway, we did. We're deep frying the tuna. Instead of searing it and turning it on the one side and turning it on another side and turning it on another side, to sear it all the way around, every side, we just thought, well, let's just deep fry it and it'll sear on all sides at one time. So that's really what we're doing. And we made a teriyaki sauce. Here I put brown sugar, soy sauce, garlic, and ginger in there, and mixed it all up, and then we put all the tuna pieces in there, cut roughly to this size here. So it's almost an inch thick, and whatever the size of the quarter was after the fillet. You basically slice that down. That way it cooks pretty quick. So these ones here are just about done, but the way they're coming out is looking pretty good. That one there, here you can see just a little pinkish in there, a little pinkish. It could be a little bit more pinkish than that, but they're kind of cooking too as they come out. But I'm going to pull these out right now. Anyway, you hold the camera, and these are should be about done. So we're just searing them. We're trying to cook it on the outside, and still have the inside nice and, well, let me get all these out because they're gonna don't overcook really fast. Even if they're cooked all the way, they're still really good. This teriyaki sauce turned out to be really nice, and we only marinated for 30 minutes or so, but it's turning out really excellent. And you gotta be careful with these tongs pulling this out because it's so tender. The tuna is so tender. So I'm gonna cut this one. Which one did we pull out? This one?
Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna slice this one in half and let you just see how it looks inside. See that? Perfectly seared. You see that? And if you touch that part, it's still a little cool to the touch. So this, and then we made up some sauce, you know, with some soy sauce and some wasabi over here as a dipping sauce. And here, I'm going to dip one real quick. But this is basically how you want your tuna seared. Just like that. See that there? I dip it in a little wasabi sauce and So anyway, we have a few more to cook. We got this whole mess of them cooked, and because we're not connoisseurs, we cooked a bunch of French fries, and we're cooking some corn too. So kind of to go around with it. We're cooking it at about 250 to 300 degrees. Anyway, we're searing tuna, deep frying style. Being from the south, we just figure throw it in the deep fryer and it'll be good. And we'll be back with more. Yeah, we put some of this wasabi paste in the soy sauce. It's a powder, and you mix it up just like they mix regular soy. You can mix it with water and make a paste, or like a little, you know, wasabi ball if you wanted to. But we just put the powder in with the soy sauce. So you can see kind of the goldenish, brownish. There's garlic chopped up. And there you see those little black flakes. Those are the garlic flakes on there. And then the teriyaki sauce and that. It's really coming out great. Really coming out great. So anyway, that's what we did. And so this is kind of like a buy, clean, and cook of your... Honey, what's the tuna called? I think it's, well, barili is what we called it. It's not what they called it. But, huh? Tulingan. And it's, to me, it looks like a giant skipjack or like a really fat, bonita. Bonita to me is usually longer and skinnier. And this one's like a really fat one, a really big, plump, fat skipjacks. But anyway, it's turning out great. We're loving it. So we're going to finish cooking these up. We got this batch here, and then one more batch. And we only leave it in there 4 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. Not very long, like I said, just enough to sear the outside and keep that inside nice and pink. See, like that right there, right in the center, nice and pink, tender, and it's working great. So we will be back with more seared tuna on my paradise on Bantayan Island. Boy. Bye for now.